Tantor Audio, a division of Recorded Books, presents The Summer of Broken Rules by K.L. Walther.
It's currently 11:30 and it's been about 2 hours. I'm on page 103 and I definitely have some thoughts on this book. Up until this point, almost everything that's happened is already on the description of the book. So essentially we're following a girl named Meredith. Her family typically takes these annual trips to Martha's Vineyard. This summer they are going to celebrate her cousin's wedding. After Meredith gets to Martha's Vineyard, they find out that her cousin planned a massive game of assassin just to memorialize Meredith's sister Claire, because they used to play this game almost every single summer. Almost everybody who is a part of this wedding is now in on this massive game of assassin. I don't know, that just seems so fun to me and I would absolutely love it. I love the relationship between our two main characters right now. Like, I know we're only 100 pages in, but it's not based off of physical attraction or lust. Our main male character in this book's name is Whit, and you can see how much Whit cares for her despite not knowing her that well. He seems like a very genuine person. That's definitely what she needs right now, someone who's stable and who can ground her in these moments where she's overcome with grief. The two of them kind of form this alliance during this assassin game, so I think that's extra fun. So far, definitely a really good book. It definitely has those summer vibes that I was looking for. Yeah, I'm gonna get back to reading because I'm loving this so far, so I guess let's just see how much further I can get. But it had taken him less than 10 seconds. It had taken him less than 10 seconds to connect the dots, while Ben had never connected them. If that doesn't explain who Whit is, I don't know what does. Whit cares about her so deeply, and he just knows when she needs support or when something is too much. Someone had brought up a story of Claire, and it happened to be the night that she had passed away. It obviously hurt Meredith to be hearing this story again. He knew how to help calm her and what she needed to be grounded in that moment. Something about when a guy knows how you're feeling or what you're going through without you having to explain it shows that they pay attention to you, and even the smallest details don't go unnoticed by these people. In this instance, Whit was driving really fast. All she had to do was say, "Whit, please slow down," and he immediately stopped the car and checked in on her. I think that's just so sweet, and it really goes to show how much he actually cares about her, and I love that so much for them. Their relationship is truly just the sweetest thing. Like, there's no miscommunication between them, there's no arguments, or at least not yet. I'm like halfway through. They can be open and honest with each other without feeling like they're gonna be judged for it, and I'm really loving this book so far. I would not consider this to be a lighthearted book. We are still dealing with grief. That is not something easy to navigate, but I think that this author is doing such a good job still making this book fun and enjoyable without it feeling too heavy. And I love that. It's done so well. Okay, first of all, this is a really awkward angle. Gonna have to bear with me for a couple minutes. I'm still really enjoying this book, but I think the last time that we spoke, I mentioned something about there not being a miscommunication trope. There was some miscommunication, some intentional miscommunication, and that really bothers me. But anyways, I have about 100 pages left. That's a lot of time for things to happen. The second that Whit proposed that him and Meredith try things long distance, she completely shut it down. Like, I know that her and Ben were together for years, but she was willing to try long distance with Ben, but she's not willing to try long distance with Whit. Something about that just really irritates me. If you feel like things between you guys are so strong, if you feel this connection that you never felt with someone else before, then why wouldn't you give it a shot? I'm really nervous to see what decisions are made. Regardless, it is 3:43. I'm going to continue reading this book, and I'll probably catch up once I finish the book with my final thoughts. Hopefully we won't have this god-awful angle anymore. There are dozens of cars sitting outside of my window right now, and I'm incredibly embarrassed. It is 4:55 and I just finished The Summer of Broken Rules. I think my overall rating for this is going to be a 4.25 stars. Writing in this book was a little bit confusing to keep track of. From sentence to sentence, it would just kind of switch to a different time frame or flashbacks. I don't know if I'm explaining that correctly, but there were just times where I found myself having to go back and reread something because I was like, wait, what are we talking about? Because it was just such a sudden switch. So that was a little bit confusing for me, but overall the writing was really good. Another thing that I really liked about this book is the family aspect of it. She has such a solid support system, and I'm really happy about the decision that she made. The whole point in how this book ended is that you don't want to find yourself getting lost in a relationship. You want to find out who you are and learn how to become your own person. I love Meredith and Whit. I definitely be thinking about these two for a little while. They are probably one of my favorite YA couples now. But now that I am done yapping, we have to move on to the next book. It's going to be either this book or I could finish The Secret Life of Bees. I am on page 123 in this book, and it's not a long book. It's just around 300 pages. A little brief overview of what I've read in this book so far. Basically, we're following a young girl named Lily. Something happened to her mother that caused her to pass away when Lily was really young. So of course it was just her and her father at that point, and her father was not the kindest man. Considering Lily's mother passed away when she was so young, her father employed kind of like a stand-in mother to help raise her. This person's name was Rosaline. One day Rosaline and Lily were walking into town together because Rosaline wanted to go register to vote. On the way there was an incident that happened. Rosaline ended up in jail. When Lily got home that night, she felt like it was an injustice. She was worried for Rosaline. She didn't know what was going to happen to her. So she decided to run away and break Rosaline out of jail. And the only place that she could think to run away to was a small town called TBR in South Carolina. There was a picture of, I think it was like Black Mother Mary. I believe the picture was her mother's, but she found the exact same picture on a set of honey jars. A group of sisters lived in that town who made that honey. Since that was her mother's picture, she of course assumed that there was some sort of connection between these three beekeeping sisters and her mother. So now she's currently staying with them, but it is currently 5:15. So I am going to start reading this now, and I guess I will check back in a little bit and see how much progress I've made. It is confirmed the picture is of Black Mary. I just came across the page where it says that. Oh, I really love this. Did you know there are 32 names for love in one of the Eskimo languages? August said, and we just have this one. We are so limited, you have to use the same word for loving Rosaline as you do for loving a Coke with peanuts. Isn't that a shame we don't have more ways to say it? Lily was asking why the three sisters use the Black Madonna label for their honey. You know why? Because when they looked at her, it occurred to them for the first time in their lives that what's divine can come in dark skin. You see, everybody needs a god who looks like them, Lily. She liked to tell everybody that women made the best beekeepers because they had a special ability built into them to love creatures that sting. It comes from years of loving children and husbands, she'd say. The hardest thing on earth is choosing what matters. I just passed the halfway mark. I'm on page 155. I'm gonna put this down for a little bit. It's getting a little rough to try and stay awake, at least while reading that book. Maybe I'll try and find my spot in this book. I'm on page 38. I'm gonna try and read this a little bit, and then I guess we'll just see what happens from there, because I'm getting quite tired and it is only 6 o'clock. It is 7:20. I thought that it'd be a really good time for an update right now. I'm just over 100 pages into this book and my jaw has been on the floor this whole time. I read How the Grinch Stole Christmas last year, and so I was very familiar with Meghan Quinn's kind of writing, and I actually really enjoy it. I was expecting something a little bit crazy going into this story. This book is incredibly vulgar, and I'm loving it. I know that that's not everybody's cup of tea. A little bit of background on what's happened so far and set the scene a little bit so you know what's going on. Basically, our main female character, Scotty, she just started a new position at a company and she's trying really hard to fit in. The problem is she is a divorcee surrounded by people who are all very happily married, at least from what we know so far. And one day they have this meeting and all the Brads and Chads are there. Before this meeting starts, everybody's talking about their plans for the weekend and how they're going to be spending it with their wives or their husband. She decides to tell everybody that she also has plans with her husband. And of course, Chad sitting next to her is like, "You don't have a husband. Where's the ring?" And she ends up digging herself into a deeper hole by saying that they're on rocky terms. Her boss just so happens to be married to like the world's best marriage counselor ever. So her boss pulls her to the side outside of the meeting room and she's like, "Hey, let me set you up with my husband. He's like the world's best marriage counselor ever." She decides to just go with it. So she tries to take her best friend, who is a bartender. He's like, "No, ma'am, I don't swing that way. And plus, I have my own therapy session to go to at that same exact time. So I can't, I'm out. But my brother can take you." And of course, he messages his brother, who just so happens to be like an uber billionaire. And he sold this app for a ton of money and he's super rich and retired at like age 27. Of course, since he has nothing better to do with his life, he just agrees on a whim to go with this random girl, this stranger, to this marriage counseling appointment. They meet up like 15 minutes before the counseling meeting just to try and like set their stories straight, but they didn't do a great job because he was under the impression that they're trying to fix their marriage and that they're happy and they want to work it out. She, on the other hand, did not want it to work out. She wanted it to be like, okay, there is no helping us, and they were not on the same page with that. And so when they went in, he was being all loving and doting, and she didn't want to seem like a total bitch. She, of course, had to give the same energy back. And so the counselor, who is a complete and utter wacko, in my opinion, was like, "Oh, I feel the spark. I feel the connection between you two. So I think all you need is this 8-day summer retreat that costs like $15,000, and once you go, you'll be all better." She's like, "Nah, I'm not really feeling that. Don't think anything can help." Our fake husband, Wilder is his name, if I have not mentioned that. Wilder is just like, sure, because he's a yes man, because he just, flies by the seat of his pants, but he doesn't know how to say no. So he whips out his credit card, pays $15,000 for this retreat for them to go on. And of course, she finds out after talking to her boss that all the Brads and Chads of the office, including her boss, are also going on this retreat. So now it's not just going to be her trying to pretend to be in this relationship or be married to this man in front of total strangers. She now has to fake it in front of all of her coworkers, including the person who called her out, and is probably going to be trying to sniff around to see if it's fake or not, because why wouldn't he? They end up getting to this retreat and they were just shown their cabin. How do I explain this in a clean way that's not gonna get taken down? It was like the Red Room from 50 Shades, but worse. For this like company marriage retreat. The scene setting is great. It's hilariously unrealistic and I just love that. Reading her books is always just a fun time and I'm here for it. So I'm gonna get to reading to try and see how much further I can get in this book by the end of tonight. It is currently 9:04. I wanted to check in because I'm halfway through this book right now. It is so good. Despite how chaotic the couple is, despite all of the bickering, arguing, general chaos, I think this is one of the healthiest relationships I've ever seen. Like, I'm genuinely loving their connection. I'm loving their honesty, their openness. This is only the second book that I'm reading of hers, but I truly do think that she could be one of my top favorite authors. There's not a single thing that I dislike about this book at all. There's not one thing I could complain about. I'm having a really great time. I might try to finish this tonight, but I guess we'll see. So I swear I have the bangs of that one guy from the K-pop Demon Slayer movie. These are the Pokemon sugar cookies? I don't know what they're called. It's currently 6 o'clock on Sunday, 6:09 on Sunday. I've only done a few hours of reading today. I did end up finishing Til Summer Do Us part. My thoughts really haven't changed much since the last time that I checked in to talk about this book. Personally, I really enjoyed this book. I thought it was hilarious. It didn't feel like the book was too long. I think until the very, very end when the main conflict was happening, and then of course I was like, okay, this is annoying. Why are we doing this? Why are we going through this? See, I will give this book one thing, okay? I'm definitely not against spice. There is a right way to do it. There's definitely a right way to do it. When I was reading How the Grinch Stole Christmas, there were some spicy scenes. When I tell you I have never cringed so hard in my entire life as I did when I was reading those scenes, the spice in that book was awful. I think it was a one-off. This one was done very well. I think I'm gonna rate this a 4.5. I don't want to rate it a 5 stars because it wasn't absolutely perfect. That third act conflict, it did get under my skin a little bit because I wasn't understanding where she was coming from. Like, I couldn't get into her head in those moments. Okay, so it is officially time for this little weekend readathon to come to a close. It is Sunday night and I have finished 3 books this weekend. I'm pretty happy about the books that I did finish, considering this weekend it just started raining and it's all gloomy out. The weather is definitely giving fall. I couldn't be happier that I chose this weekend to finish out my summer TBR because now I can finally get into the books that feel more like my cozy fall reading. So quickly, we'll go over the books that I did read this past weekend. We started with The Summer of Broken Rules by K.L. Walters. This book was so beautifully written. This book deals very heavily with grief and the loss of a sister. So if you cannot deal with that, please, I would not recommend picking this up because it does have its moments where it definitely feels a little heavier. But overall, this book was able to balance that heaviness with a very light feeling. I think adding in the game of assassin into this book was really unique as well. It is a YA book. There is no spice in this. We didn't need to see the physical aspect of their relationship to understand how much of a connection these two had. You could see it. But overall, this book was so fun and I loved it so much. I think I rated it like a 4.25 stars. I don't know how I feel about the ending, but overall I loved this book. I think this would be a really fun reread. So if I ever find myself wanting to reach for a summer book, I will definitely be picking this one up because this was amazing and I had so much fun with this and I would highly recommend reading this book. After that, I ended up picking up Til Summer Do Us Part by Meghan Quinn. I have read one other book by Meghan Quinn before, so I knew that I really enjoyed her writing style. It is not for everybody. It's vulgar. There's a lot of profanity, a lot of sarcasm, bickering. Like, you have to know what you're going into before you pick up one of her books. Also, despite how cutesy the covers are, this is an extremely spicy book. I kind of expected it going into this book because of reading the other book by her, and I love her writing style. I think it's so fun and raw and unique. I don't want to say it's a 5-star because this probably isn't something that I'm going to think about all the time, but I really, really enjoyed this book. So I think I'm going to give this a 4.5 stars overall. It was such a fun time. I really think Meghan Quinn is crawling her way to my top authors list. It feels like she's not afraid to say things how they are, no matter how ugly they are, no matter how ugly they come across. But yeah, I'm very happy that I picked this book up, and I would definitely reread this in the future, 100%. Very happy with this one. And then finally, I finished The Secret Life of Bees. This is a book that I've been working through for a few weeks now. Then I picked it back up for this little reading vlog, and I'm very happy that I did. It started off pretty slow, but this is not one of those books that you just want to like fly through. This is one of those books that you want to really let the words sink in. I am not the best person to go to if you want a critical analysis of a story and its deeper meaning. I've heard a lot about how this book is meant for women, and it even says on the back of the book that this is a novel about divine female power. The women in this book are so strong, so resilient. They really care for one another. The 3 sisters took Lily and Rosaline in without any questions being asked. They just knew, they felt it, like they knew that they needed to help these women. There's so many quotes in this book. If I was to go back through this book and read it again, I would definitely be annotating it. I did highlight and underline some things that really stood out to me, but this book was beautiful. It was beautifully written. Definitely a slower paced book. Nonetheless, it's a very good read, and I would highly recommend picking this up. It shows, as a woman, it is so important to have a sisterhood and a support system of other women. I would highly recommend picking this book up if you want to read about that. So I think I'd end up rating this a 4.5 stars. I'm just upset that I didn't pick this book up sooner, because this has been sitting on my classics shelf for literally years, and that I think is my biggest regret, because this was 100% worth the time and energy to read through. So overall, these are the 3 books that I picked up this weekend, and I'm really happy that I got to them finally. I've been waiting for the perfect moment to sit down and just binge read summer books. This was supposed to be like a 24-hour readathon video, and then I ended up falling asleep. Really, this kind of ended up turning into more of like a reading vlog type of thing, which I'm not mad about. This is my very first YouTube video. I'm definitely in the learning stages right now, so please give me grace. But if you made it this far in the video, I'm so glad that you stayed. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you next time.